accept the agenda for the meeting in Board of Health, Monday, August 26th, Selectmen's hearing room at 6 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, schedule items. Discuss and vote septic system design hearing, 36 Bailey's Causeway, Morse Engineering, representing homeowner, request for installation of septic system requiring local upgrades and variants. You know the routine.
Okay, that's 36R. Here for number 36. Okay, for the record, Gregory Morse, registered engineer, Morse Engineering. This is a septic system upgrade project located at 36 Bailey's Causeway. I presented this plan originally to the board back in early July. You asked that a reviewer take a look at it, and I also had to go to the Conservation Commission to verify the wetland lines at that point in time. I've been to the Conservation Commission. They are awaiting your approval so that they can approve the remainder of the project, but they have confirmed the wetland boundaries on this site. To reorient you with the plan, Bailey's Causeway is at the bottom of the page here. The property line is in black. There's an existing house in the front, a two-bedroom house. Our proposal was to take that house down, construct a new one on pilings, which would be FEMA compliant. It would be going back as a two-bedroom house. The proposal is to put was originally to put a septic tank and a pump chamber in the back and a pressure-dosed leaching system in the side yard. We've changed the proposal. We eliminated the septic tank and replaced it with a Hoot aerobic treatment tank. So this is an advanced treatment system. It still has the pump chamber and it still has the pressure-dosed soil absorption system in the side yard. The wetlands are the blue line over here, the 50-foot buffer being the line in red. We were able to get the soil absorption system entirely outside of the 50-foot buffer zone in this case. It's at the highest spot on this site. It's not an increase in flow. We were looking for a couple of local upgrade approvals as listed on the plan.
And the other one, which is next, is the one that's behind it, right?
Correct.
And where's the driveway for both of these? Are they both on this side, or is there?
Sure. So if you went out there today, there's a driveway on this side, a gravel driveway that comes down and services both of these properties. And this area over here is currently lawn. The proposal for the rear lot, 36R, is to locate 36R's septic system, a septic tank, another Hoot tank with a pump chamber in the side yard, and then they have a pressure-dosed soil absorption system here within an easement on this front. So this here becomes the new driveway as well for both properties. It allows us to eliminate this driveway, which is a 0-foot setback from the wetlands. Both of these systems were designed so that you can drive over them. They're heavy-duty rated for that. There's a access and utility easement to 36R as well as the septic easement, allowing for the septic system to be in place.
One question about driving over them is there was a comment about the fire truck. Can it really support a fire truck?
It couldn't support a full-size fire truck. It can support standard passenger vehicles. It could support an ambulance, but not a ladder truck. No.
Or what about, like, so that would mean a moving company?
So I mean,
UPS?
it would handle a lighter truck like that, like a UPS truck or a FedEx truck. Yeah.
I mean, since we're talking, we got both of them here to talk
Yep.
about. So the driveways now would go right over these.
Correct.
And this would just be lawn to the
That
right?
gets planted with new wetland plantings, actually.
Okay, and they're gonna be full, right now, are they both full-time?
They're both year-round.
Okay, and they're both gonna be a two-bedroom?
Correct. They're both two-bedroom layouts.
Okay.
Are there any abutters?
That was my next question.
Yeah.
I'm at 34. My name is Janie Davidson.
Okay,
I'm at 32. My name is Shirley Davidson.
okay. So you would be, well,
So I'm
Have to be
34.
This
I'm-
property.
To the
I'm-
right
right,
of the,
that's right.
both houses. Is one of them the new one that's built?
Yes, that's
Okay.
34.
Okay.
Do you want to see the plan? Have you seen the plan? Do you have any question, comment? Pro, negative? Now's the time to speak.
Yeah, it's not so much on the septic, it's just on the relocation of the new home for 36R, moving it off of where it is to the new location in order to accommodate the septics.
Okay, so right now, this house is right here.
That's
That's
right.
staying there, but going
Goes
on
back,
pilot.
goes on pilings, it's a little bit bigger, but essentially in the same exact location,
Okay.
correct.
And the house that's back there now
Mm-hmm.
is doing the same?
The house that's back there now comes forward on the lot a little bit. Right now, the house only has a 2-foot setback to the wetlands.
Okay.
We're pulling it forward so that we have a 10-foot setback to the wetlands.
Okay.
We had pulled it forward even more, and at the request of the abutter, we actually took the house and moved it back. We've pulled it back 8 feet already.
Okay,
The locations of the houses were approved unanimously through the zoning board.
okay. So you're aware of that
Yep,
being
yes,
changed?
yep, so I'm kind
Where's the
of,
telephone pole?
Their pole right in here somewhere.
So this
That's
is
that's the lot
line, right?
corner.
right,
Okay, and your house, and I just think it faces this way?
that's right,
And your house,
is more like over here.
okay, so it's on Bailey Causeway and
That's
the
right,
front, and
yep.
then like that, okay.
Yep.
And you come in this way for the driveway for your house? or
No,
is it-
that's just a temporary path for
Okay.
access. The access will just be down here.
Okay.
I have wetlands that
Okay,
are going back in there.
okay.
Um,
So with what they
Where are
did,
your wetlands?
I think they're right here.
They're not wetlands, but they're plantings that are proposed.
Right, I mean, put wetlands back. The wetlands, I
Plantings.
mean, the
The wetlands are
the
over
flood,
here.
the flood
Zone.
zone, right.
Okay.
So where does the rear house come out in relation to the telephone pole? Because that's what we've been using as a gauge.
Yeah, I think it's like right around here. It doesn't show it on his plan.
Yeah, the pole is on your property. We did stake out the corner of the house
Right,
for you,
yeah.
so.
It's right about here,
That's where the pole is?
yes.
Okay. And the front of the house is gonna be out to here? now,
This is,
or-
this is the front of the house right here.
Okay.
Yep. So the front of the house sticks out, let me just grab my scale here. Front of the house is 30 feet forward of where the house sits right now. But where the house sits right now is literally on top of the wetland. The proposed location, you know, again, it does comply with all Board of Health requirements.
Okay. Do you have any other concerns either, or are you?
I was just waiting to see what's happening over here with the elevation of the, putting the septics in and the elevation of the soil and then the parking on the top.
Is it, it's not set up like the golf, like you
No,
see
so
some of
this,
those?
so, just for reference, Bailey's Causeway is approximately elevation 7. This area in the side yard is at about elevation 7. We are coming up to elevation 10 over the septic system. What we've proposed is 5 feet off of the abutter's lot line. We've proposed a retaining wall there that allows us to bring the grade up. It also elevates that area of the land so that the parking, or, you know, the parking for the cars is, you know, up, elevated up higher than the street as well.
And then with the retaining wall, it wouldn't run off into there?
No, no.
That probably was one of your feedback or
It was, well,
questions?
is the
We
swale still in
proposed-
there, or is that the
Yep.
retaining wall, is that the same thing?
No, so the retaining wall is 5 feet off of the lot line.
Okay.
And then from the lot line to the retaining wall, we actually provide a swale through
So
here.
it's
So
in
it
between
pitches onto this property. We've got the same detail on both plans.
So when you have your retaining wall that's 5 feet off of, like the 7?
The lot line.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, you're saying going widthwise, you're not saying 5 feet high?
No, it's
or
3 feet high.
3 feet high, okay, so then that matches the swale? Like, where does this?
Sure, so the driveway, you know, if this is the land here at elevation
Right.
7,
Okay,
and your lot line is over here.
Right.
You'd come over 5 feet,
yeah,
and there'd be a retaining wall coming up,
okay,
to elevation 10 up here. This
Yeah.
would be a vertical wall.
Okay,
And then from here to here, between the lot line and the wall, we would dig this down, sloping this way
okay,
to the middle, and then we'd slope it up to the base of the wall, so it creates a V.
okay. So it's lot line, then swale, then wall.
Correct.
And is the swale made of soil, or is that a concrete?
Sure, no, on top of the surface, it is made of soil, and then underneath that, we have a crushed stone trench, which allows any water that accumulates in that swale to infiltrate into the ground.
Okay. And that holds, you have a good track record with that? Like, in other words, it doesn't just get washed away and then become a...
No, with the crushed stone, I think that helps absorb,
Okay,
I mean,
Does.
unless you get a tidal wave.
yeah,
But I think that will help on that part.
What is the retaining wall? Is it going to be a stone wall?
It's like one of the Versalock block walls.
Uh-huh.
It's one of those
Yeah.
concrete-faced walls.
And why did you want the house moved back a little?
back, because it's right now it's where it's was originally positioned, it's the whole length of my house.
Yeah.
With maybe just a foot of spot to have air and light. So I'm more concerned with now having almost a wall
Yeah.
right next to that whole length of the house. So I'm eager to have it move back as much as possible.
What is your overall feeling about the whole thing?
Well, I'm concerned about the flooding, and I'm just kind of concerned about any change to the two properties. I feel like it's it looks very large here, but when you get down to the area in which you can do the construction, I feel like the two houses there at their square footage, it's gonna be really
Condensed.
jammed in there, yeah. I feel like it's a lot going on, and with the septic and the flipping of the driveway to the other side, it's just hard to imagine. I mean, I'm following the plans and trying to keep up, but I just kind of,
Well,
Trying to
the
stay.
flooding is an issue too.
Right, that, I mean,
Yeah.
that's,
I've been there in my house summers, but now all year round, for probably 54 years, and each year it just gets worse and worse.
Mhm.
And
Now, do you, where you are up here, do you get water, or is it it's starting to come up more and more?
Yeah,
like
it comes up
anything?
the causeway, but it doesn't come onto your property.
no, it doesn't.
It
Not-
just comes at
Yeah.
the end?
Not
Right,
yet.
and it
Right.
might come into
Not
my, just a little bit, like seeps over on, if it's coming all the way up the causeway, like if it goes to Buttonwood Lane, then it does just push into the driving spot.
Right.
I'm not concerned that it's gonna come up onto my, property,
House.
onto the yard or into the house. The house has been elevated, but seeing what I've seen in the last 2 winters, I have more reason to be concerned than I ever have, because I have seen the amount of water that comes now and stays.
Project like this, that shouldn't affect the flooding, that's,
Okay,
that's the ocean. You can't throw a pebble in the ocean and measure how much it's gonna expand it, you know what I mean? It's gonna come up no matter what you do. Unfortunately, our only concern is, or mine is the houses are the same, they've been occupied, they're 2-bedroom houses, that's what we're looking at, the bedrooms. In a project like this, we wouldn't wanna see a 2-bedroom house turn into a 5-bedroom house with a bunch of variances. That's
Right.
what we're trying to protect. But the board can't take somebody's value from their property, they have the right to fix it up. So we're trying to make sure that the engineer and the town and everybody's doing the best they can for the property without taking advantage of things.
right.
So if there were 2 year-round homes there that are two bedrooms, then they have the right to fix them up and
Understood.
do what they want to do. So that's why they've been through the process with Conservation Board of Health and zoning as well. And everybody seems to agree. And it seems the engineer has done the best he can do with the circumstances given. But it's nice to hear a abutter come in and let us know.
Their
And
concerns.
it helps me with my decision to say, okay, they're not trying to pull a fast one, so to say.
Right.
They're not doing anything. They're doing within the boundary of the law, and that's what we're here, just to guide them along and make sure it is. Unfortunately, if houses move or get bigger, and that's part of progress, I guess, and that's something we can't
Really no
stop.
objection to the size of the house, it's just
Yeah.
the sizes of both houses within the very small area.
Right.
And then, of course, the placement, the
Right.
repositioning. And also, it's not always just the ocean water, it is the
marsh.
rainwater.
The rainwater.
rainwater,
Yeah.
the rain that comes
Yeah.
Yeah.
and doesn't
Well,
absorb.
now that can be an issue with the wall and the swale, and the engineer is, and we have to trust him. I'm not a licensed engineer. We just review it. It's his license. If he's trying to do something that he can't make work and it fails, it's gonna come back to him, because you'll look and say, well, at the meeting you said, and it didn't.
Right.
And then, unfortunately,
didn't
it's not
work-
just you, it's any engineer is gonna
Yeah.
answer to
Yes.
that.
If it
Yeah.
doesn't work, it looks like could you fix it? I mean, that's the other thing.
Well, that's a question there. I mean,
Yeah.
do you go deeper with the stone? Do you try to pitch it further out? Because the idea is to catch whatever water's coming here and get it back out to the wetland. Rainwater should dissipate into the wetland fairly quick. It's the ocean you can't. The ocean comes, it comes.
Right,
That's all
that's
of
right.
Mass Bay, that's all of
Right.
Gulf of Maine, that's what we can't help. But it shouldn't, your property shouldn't flood any more today in a rain event
Than it normally does.
than it normally does, or after this project, because no more water should be leaving this site than there was before. Did I say that right?
Is that because
Kinda
of the
spit it out,
addition
but-
of the soil?
No, it's
like-
just the design. If you're adding
Okay.
impervious like
So you're
roofs and
giving
stuff,
it
you're supposed
somewhere
to
to go.
compensate. Giving
Yeah.
it somewhere
Yeah.
to go, exactly.
Okay.
And if the septic system's mounded, then you have to get away for that water to naturally go where it used to go, or to be absorbed into the ground away from the septic system. So that's what the engineer has done with the
retaining
swale
wall and swale.
and yeah, exactly.
So there'd
And
be
so-
mounded septum? These
Yeah, is
septics
that
would
what,
be mounded
when you were talking
to
about
the
your
public
Yes, it's gonna
septic?
come up about
Two
2
of
or
them.
3
the
feet.
new
new
septic.
type of system? Is
Yeah,
that
he said
still
that
the
earlier.
same?
Yeah, it was
It's
type
still the
of-
same
Yeah.
location, it's still the
Elevation
same
10.
size, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the wall will come
But-
up even with, like, if the peak of the driveway is up here, the wall's gonna match it.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna be like here and the wall's down here and it runs off over the walls and stuff. And then with the 5 feet to there, it's gonna have the swale that comes down and goes up with the crushed stone. So it should, do you know if there's any, soil covers out front here or anything? Manhole?
There's
There's a catch
There's
basin.
drainage out in the street,
Yeah.
there's no sewer though.
Okay.
No.
Oh,
No, we'd be
I
trying
wish
to-
there was.
And so,
Sorry,
is-
that's where I live, I have sewage.
what is this link? Is that the,
That's a retaining wall, it goes,
Okay,
it
so
goes
it
right
goes
around,
around the whole
yeah, it goes
property.
right around all 3 sides of the septic system.
and then does it sort of go down in the back, or how does the grade work there?
Sure, so the grade here tapers down underneath the new house, because the new house is up on pilings.
Right?
And so we are bringing the grade up at the base of the wall by about a foot.
Okay.
And then that tapers down and matches grade where the old house was. So that grade where the old house was, that old house gets, eliminated, and then the new house is up in the air. We don't touch the ground under there.
So you'll have if you get out of the car and then you walk down the hill a little
You're
bit and
gonna,
then
well,
up
from
the
the top,
stairs?
from the top of that retaining wall, there's a set of stairs up to the new house. So yeah, you don't have to
Oh.
go down to that
Oh, okay.
ground level.
Yeah.
You're stepping up.
When you say pilings,
Yeah,
pilings that
pilings are
will be
like-
covered with shingles?
So
like
they're,
what you did?
No, he's got pilings or the, like telephone poles.
Wood-
Yeah,
kind
it's
of, yeah.
so like
Telephone
down
poles.
on Glades Road, you see a lot of those houses that are up.
Yeah.
A lot of them finish it by putting
That's
boards
what
and
I'm
stuff.
saying, yeah.
That's up to the homeowner, I'm not sure what the building is, but that's the pylons, what he means by
Yeah.
pylons, the telephone poles.
No, I'm not too crazy about that look.
And nothing we can do about that.
That's not a Board of Health.
Yeah, that's,
I know, I realize
Yeah.
that.
I'm going to probably be the negative voice here,
sure.
but I don't mind it. I know that area, I walk through it multiple times a day. It floods, and I think the owner of these homes he's doing what he can to prepare them to be sold. He's not going to be there or care about what the situation is, and I'm sorry to say, even if the other boards, have pushed this through, those were built as summer cottages to pick them up, put them on stilts, change this, change that, so that they can be sold. It's not even going to be the primary residence of the person that's doing all of this. Concerns me in an area that I think is really vulnerable.
I agree with you, for what it's worth.
So,
You know, it'd be one thing if the person was coming to their own property, but,
so I obviously can't predict the future,
yeah.
but I will tell you, Mr. Waldron has told me, he lives right now over off of Cherry Lane. It's his intention to live in this residence here.
Okay.
He does have another place in Florida, but it is his intention to live in that front house. That should not come into your consideration at all.
No, it shouldn't.
He doesn't live on the property right now.
Yeah.
There are septic systems there, whether he lives there or whether it's any other resident of the
Sure.
town.
Yeah, it's just completely
Yeah. So there's,
manipulating everything on the property.
But it's gonna help cost, I mean, not cost, but the area of home improvements compared to what's there now in a new building.
Yeah, what's there now, a
Yes, the
couple of
new-
cesspools?
Yeah, and
two
plus it's
cesspools
older
that are
houses.
literally in the wetlands themselves,
Right, right.
and
So-
two houses that are
so as far
non-FEMA
as-
compliant. The
Right.
site absolutely floods.
Right,
We've seen pictures of it. It's
Yeah.
all located in the floodplain.
Yeah,
right. But they're used as year-round homes now, they're two bedrooms, there's no,
They are rental properties.
Yeah.
They have
They're
and-
doesn't
rental.
matter, they're
Yeah.
still year-round homes
And the
yeah.
last lady, was it this winter or the winter?
No, the winter before.
She had to be rescued by boat with her dog, you know, the fireman had to come.
And that
That's
was
the
in the
front
front house,
Yeah,
right?
the front
And then the
house.
woman in the back house has had to move out for 2 winters, for 3
She
weeks
can't
at
even
a
get
time.
near her house. She's trapped, either trapped in it, or she's out
Trapped away
working and
from
can't,
it.
when
Right.
she comes home, she can't get in.
so Greg, with that much water, these systems are never going to, they're completely protected and couldn't escape into that degree of flooding, any, you know, waste?
Sure, so, I mean, the nice thing about putting the systems over here, the soil absorption systems are elevated. The driveways are also elevated too. So if someone was parking their car right now at this back residence, it's down here at elevation 7, and that does flood, absolutely. Now that car is gonna be parked up here at elevation 10, at a higher elevation. The access to the house is also from elevation 10 going up to the first floor. So that part is better. Talking about the septic systems, you know, the alternative in a case like this would be a tight tank. A tight tank is supposed to be a last-ditch effort, a last scenario. A tight tank is literally a tank that holds everything coming out of the house and gets pumped out. That would be located in the same flood area. You know, during a flood event, whether it's a tight tank or whether it's this system, it would be underwater. So,
Which then you have that chance of backup. Possible.
absolutely.
No, it's sealed, it has to be pumped.
Both types of systems require bolt-down covers. They're supposed to be watertight tanks. You know, so you would have that in either scenario. But it is an advanced, you briefly asked about it earlier. This is what they call a hoot treatment system. And what that means is, rather than just being a regular septic tank, this is essentially a miniature wastewater treatment plant. The
Okay.
tank itself has a series of recirculating pumps and aerators in it, so that the water that ultimately comes out of this tank and goes to the leaching field is extremely clean. It's not the standard quality wastewater, it's treated wastewater at that point.
So that's what I was gonna say, how realistic is that? Because if those are both sitting, if they're at level 10, that's where the soil is, but they're underneath that, and if they're sitting in 3 feet of water, and we're talking about there's kind of 3 feet there, so technically they could be sitting in that for, say, 2 or 3 weeks. I wasn't even thinking about a breach or a leak or whatever, but you're saying now that if there was such a leak, it would be a cleaner leak, like it wouldn't be as raw.
No, I mean, the septic in the tank here is always just gonna be raw sewage, but the effluent that actually gets absorbed into the soil is cleaner in this scenario
What's there now.
than what's there now. These hoot systems, you have these all up and down Glades Road. I know I've
Right.
done probably half a
I was
dozen
gonna
over
say,
there.
there's tons in Scituate,
There.
unfortunately, of septic systems that do flood, it's where we live.
Yeah.
You're trying to keep it out of the groundwater, you're trying to keep it as high as possible, less impact, but this system is far better than the cesspool, which is
Agreed.
basically
Yeah.
raw
You
sewage
don't have to
in a
convince
pit.
me, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so when that floods,
Yeah.
that's releasing it,
It's
Anywhere and
different.
everywhere.
Exactly,
Right.
can't say it any better, exactly, so it's a much better, and that's why we're here to, no matter what the use of the property happens or what the owner decides to do, if he disposes of it or retains it, it's his right, her right to develop it, so. Like
Where
I
is
say,
this-
we're just here to make sure they're within the boundaries of the law, and it's,
Where are the cesspools now?
There's one,
Doesn't
right,
one go out into the marsh?
this one here is located in the marsh,
Yeah.
yep, behind the back house, and then the other one out front is,
so I'd have to assume in every
Right there.
lunar tide, that one's flushing itself out.
yes.
And you know what I mean by lunar tide, at the,
Yeah, the high.
the high tides, the
high
full
tides,
tides, yeah.
right.
Well, there's quite an odor, when people were, we usually knew when someone took a shower after they came home from work.
Well,
We couldn't
So
really
we
sit out in our
understand
Well,
this
it
is
might not be a
improved.
shower.
We couldn't sit out in our yard and
Anytime
have.
the water table changed, shall we
Right.
say.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully all that, by doing this,
Yeah.
will help with that part of the, and then with the retaining wall, so the water's not going towards you and stuff.
Right. And what is
and in
kind of
cases
the-
like that, something like that should be reported to the Board of Health. We wanna fix stuff like that. That's the thing that, kids and grandchildren are swimming in those marshes and
I
playing there. We
know-
don't
I
wanna
know
pollute
that.
our marshes,
Right.
we want them clean. Those are things, you hate to drop a dime on your neighbor, but there's certain
I
times
could have
that.
done it many
Yeah.
times,
Yeah,
but I
those,
never
those are the
did.
things you wanna clean
I
up for
didn't do
everybody,
it.
and some people are just ignorant to the fact, they don't even think about it. It's like, do you realize what you're dumping in and where the kids
I
are playing?
realize it.
Yeah, where people are fishing and swimming, and,
Mhm.
and so this is a much better, much better, no question about it. And especially too, you have an odor like that, I mean, that's, it's failed.
Yeah.
That and a high grass or high plant growth around the cesspool, there's a lot of water there, because that's what the
Oh.
plants are feeding off of. That's usually a sign of a failed system, excuse me.
And a good lawn.
And a good line, yeah, it's well fertilized, that's right, yeah. But, those are the things we.
We don't
yeah.
want a good lawn that way.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're not here to bust bones, we're here to just protect the public health, and this is part of it. This is part of it, as much as it is with food inspections and all the other stuff we do, but septic is a big part of it, so. Yeah, do you have any from the,
Yeah, we have a few questions.
okay,
thank you for your time.
thank you.
Thank you.
So we have a question about the chambers. So the infiltrator system says that they have to be installed under their compliance to make it Title V compliance in order for us to be able to give upgrades. So we're just asking, is it going to be, this says between 36 and 60 inches of needed backfill has to go over the heavy-duty ARC 36 chambers in order for it to be H20. So our question is will it be installed by the manufacturer's guidelines so that it will comply with H20?
Sure.
With their H20?
Sure. There's likely a supplement to this that shows that if you put what they call a structural grid over the top of the chambers, it's a filter fabric that they put over the top of it, that it reduces the amount of cover. What you just said means that we'd have to have 3 feet of soil over the chambers. We specify on here that a structural fabric be put over the chambers itself, and that allows you to cut
Because I
down.
didn't see that anywhere.
Okay.
Is that something you can
In our-
supply so we can put it
Absolutely.
in the?
Because our concern is that, it's a safety issue driving over it. Obviously, we talked to fire. They
Mhm.
need to be 50 feet within the back house, and they have to, so therefore they're going to be driving over this if there is a fire in the back house. So, which means they put the front house and the back house in failure if they have to drive over it, because now the leaching field is not gonna be able to. We
Support the
Support
fire.
it.
Mhm.
And then also the leaching field for the back house is on the front property, so, we're gonna be signing off on all this. And who's responsible if something's in failure on somebody else's property? So, if the leaching field for 36R is on 36, who's gonna be responsible?
Yep.
When they are in failure? And our other question is about the chamber and the pump, pump chamber and the tank. They're at elevation of 7, so obviously, like the neighbor had said, that's gonna flood. is the pipe going from the house, which looks like it's coming underneath the deck, to the pump chamber? Is that gonna cause water, you know, are those gonna be sealed to a point where, obviously there's gonna be water under that deck, it's gonna be water going to the pump chamber and to the tank? What happens when that floods?
Sure.
So,
So the first question you, or the middle question there that you had, Joan, that was, what was that question again?
Failure.
Failure, okay.
system fails.
So we provided, when we submitted the application, we provided an 11 by 17, an easement figure that went with this. And it showed that the back lot 36R has an easement over the front property for installation of the septic system. We haven't had the legal easement documents written up, but Title V has guidance on that. It would require the rear homeowner here to be responsible for everything within that easement. We would have an attorney draw that up, you would have a chance to review it, and then that would be recorded at the Registry of Deeds. Okay?
So they'll need two easements, and this goes beyond Board of Health, but they'll need an easement to pass and repass to get to their property, even though they have frontage on the other road. But, and they'll also need a utility easement, so to say.
Correct. Yeah, the back property here is getting the right to pass and repass and park on the driveway here. They're also getting the right to install a septic system within the septic easement. Yep. And then the second question you had was,
well, we just need to know
The
that
piping.
the chambers are gonna be, you know, installed by manufacturers, so they are H20. Because the owners are gonna be driving over
Yep.
these as well, so.
yeah, so
So if you could provide that.
we certainly can. And then all of the piping connections here, they're all glued together,
Okay.
pipe fittings, they're all watertight connections. You know, I would expect this system, just like you do in many systems in the floodplain, you'd have a post-storm inspection if there was ever a big coastal event, you know, to make sure that pipes hadn't been busted, especially where they're next to pilings or whatnot.
So if you smell a smell,
Call.
report it.
But they're Schedule 40 pipes, they should be able to take a little bit of a beating. They are all glued fittings. They are supposed to be watertight. Yep.
Okay, and then we had we also had a question about the retaining wall. So 15.255 says that the retaining wall needs to be suitable structural material. You know, you were indicating that the block walls are concrete. Is that gonna meet the 15.255 as suitable structural material? Is that gonna meet that?
Yes, it is. This
Okay.
is the same wall you've approved
Okay.
multiple times in
Okay,
town.
we
Yep.
just, because it wasn't on the plan, so we just wanted to make sure it's gonna meet that particular one.
Mhm.
And the other, the water line. So the current water line goes through the leaching field, correct?
To the back house, it goes through the leaching field. We're proposing to relocate it along the lot line on the side so it complies with a 10-foot setback to the
So you're
septic system.
taking that out, which is actually connected to the front of the house, correct? Because that's where the water line's going into the front of the house as well?
Yeah, the front house connects directly from the front of the house out to Bailey's Causeway. The back house is going to come down a water line along the
Right.
side lot line.
Okay, so that water line for the front of the house is gonna stay there, where it is?
Just going into the front of the house.
Right.
Yes.
It's
So
not
the
gonna
front-
continue
Yes,
to the
yep.
back.
Because
Yep.
it looks like it feeds off.
There'll be two
like-
separate.
Yes.
Two separate
houses.
water
Right.
lines, yeah, okay.
Correct.
Okay, that was our question.
And that water line's got enough setback from the septic system, you don't need
Does,
to
it's 10
sleeve it or
feet.
anything?
No.
Good.
And we got a revised plan today for 36 R, so we had an outside reviewer review it. So we're just asking the board if we can send that out to him so that he can relook at 36R, because 36R is really, we have a lot of questions about 36R. So we just want to send that out to him for a review process, so if you could continue that.
So make a
If you
decision
so
on
choose.
36 and then do 36 hours or continue.
Yeah,
Okay.
and in the meantime, you can grab that other stuff for the file.
Fire.
Yeah, well, with the filter and
Yeah.
showing that that satisfies that.
Yeah, because most of those questions were for 36 hour, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Do we have a,
I'll make a motion
Okay.
to approve
so it's 36.
36 Bailey's Causeway. Move to approve the septic repair plan requested pending Conservation Commission approval with the local upgrades that includes: 1, reduction in the setback between the pump chamber and the property line from the required 10-foot to 5-foot. 2, reduction in the setback between the septic tank and the property line from the required 10-foot to 5-foot. 3, reduction from the required 12 inches to 3 inches between the groundwater and the inlet and outlet tees of the septic tank and the pump chamber. And 4, to allow for a sieve analysis.
All in favor? Aye.
Was it seconded?
Oh, second? Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
So, 2-1, and that's on 36.
Yeah, and then I will continue 36R pending review.
Okay. May I ask when the next available hearing might be for that?
Well, our next meeting is what,
I think it's 2 weeks.
the 9th?
Is that, no,
The 9th.
The 9th.
Okay.
And we should be able to, with Labor Day, have that back, right?
Isn't that the conservation hearing?
It is. So I'm supposed to go to conservation that night.
Is
so
that
if we can-
conservation? Then they're
If we
in
can
here then.
squeeze it in before that would be great.
Are you at the time of the meeting?
we
So
have
it's just
6:15.
6:15.
I know.
So anyways, move to continue the
Well,
septic
we moved
repair
to it, yeah.
plan request and pending Conservation Commission approval with the local upgrades, so, just moving to continue it anyways.
Right.
Until we have the plan reviewed by the town engineer.
What time is that meeting?
I think conservation is at 6 too, don't we alternate on Mondays? And maybe because they're not gonna be here.
Monday's a holiday.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the 9th, because they're not gonna be here next week for their meeting. They're gonna bunch it, I think that's why it's been pushed forward, and that's why we're the following week, I believe.
So will we be meeting in this room, or are we down at the WPA?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
We probably would be.
I think it is the WPA,
I
because I looked that up to
think
see
we
where
are.
tonight's was.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
It's the
there's 2 in
WPA.
September at the WPA.
So that would be WPA, yeah.
So the 9th, you could still go on the 9th.
Well, he's saying, it'd be hard for you to do both that night, so.
Well, I mean,
But is
I'd,
that gonna be back even for that, from the other
Yeah, he
reviewer?
said that would be
Okay.
back.
Yeah, we're at the WPP.
So could we,
On the 9th.
could Conservation put him later? So
They
like
can.
if we
Yeah,
do
that's
at
what I was
6,
thinking.
you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll ask him.
We
We'll
can
ask
work
him.
with Amy
Yeah,
on
we'll
that.
ask him, yeah.
we're all in one big happy
Yeah.
family.
Great.
You just have to drive a little
Try
faster
to-
maybe.
fine with me, fine with me.
Maybe we can arrange a police escort for you.
Whoa, there you go.
Thank you very much.
All right, Thank
do
you.
we approve the,
oh,
We need a second on the
yeah.
second.
continuation.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies,
Thank you.
Thank you.
coming in and speaking.
Director's report.
Okay. Here's that. In favor. Here's the continuance. So, we are, for August 26th, the director's report, we have 10 new septic plans that are under 45-day review period. We have 2 revised septic plans under 45-day review period. One of those is actually 36R. We have 8 sets of plans waiting for engineer revisions. 3 sets of plans are awaiting Concom review. 8 new private wells are under 30-day review, and we currently have 15 failed systems. We are wrapping up beach water testing on Tuesday. It will be the last samples, hopefully, if everything comes back positive or negative, it'll be the last sample. We had 3 beaches that were closed this year for high counts: Sand Hills, Egypt, and Lighthouse. Egypt Beach was closed mainly because of high geomeans. We were getting counts that were under the 110 but above the 35, and once we have 5 in a row, anything above 35 is going to close the beach. So Egypt isn't as bad as it looks, being closed because it was due to the geo-mean, and the geo-mean can go back, 4 weeks on us, so. Other than that, Sand Hills and Lighthouse Beach were the only other beaches that closed this year. Right now, all of the beaches are open. I know we have sporadic lifeguards as kids are going back to school. I think we just have one lifeguard. Is it in, Hummerock is till the 2nd, so that is it on that. We had our food certification course. We had 28 people sign up. We had 28 people pay. We had 23 people show. So there's 5 that paid that didn't take it. They'll have to work something out with Al Scolio, the gentleman that we worked with to do this certification. We will be holding another certification in the spring in the same location. It worked out great down at the marina. Of the 23 people, they represented 9 establishments. We had people there from TK O'Malley's, the Village Market, Riva Restaurant, Scituate Country Club, the Coffee Corner, the Scituate Council on Aging, Cosmos Cafe, the Barker Tavern, the Lucky Finn Cafe, the Scituate, and we also had a nonprofit, the First Trinitarian Church was also there. So we're very excited about that. They should be getting their results back within 2 weeks, I believe, too, so that's good. And as everyone knows, we are in heightened alert for mosquito season right now. We have had a 4th confirmed case of triple E. Currently, Scituate is still in a low-risk area. Scituate is low risk, Hingham is low risk, and Hull is low risk. Those are our neighbors to the north. Our neighbors to the south and to the west, is that right? Marshfield and Norwell are at moderate risk. Marshfield and Norwell have received aerial spraying throughout the last couple of weeks. They will be continuing to do that. Some of the things that, people can do to protect themselves from mosquitoes anyway, if you have any type of underlying health condition, you should, not be out at dusk or dawn. If you are out at dusk and dawn when mosquitoes are most active, you should be wearing long sleeve shirts, long pants, mosquito repellent with a DEET in it. You can also make sure that your home and yards are mosquito proof. Again, any standing water that's in your yard, make sure you empty it out. Any screens or anything of that nature that has a hole in it, mosquitoes can get in. You really want to do the best you can to protect yourself, and there's a lot of things that we can do as individuals and as a community to do that. So that's where we are right now with the Board of Health.
And also, I just want to, we're having the mammography van come again on Tuesday, September 17th from 7:30 to 3.
Where will that van be?
At St. Luke's, right across the
Okay.
same place we've had it last, seems to work there. So all the information's on our website. It's, people can call and book.
Okay.
Okay.
Other business, old business, invoices.
Invoices. Teresa would kill me if I didn't get those out.
Thank you.
And it is so wonderful to have Joan back, I'm not gonna lie. She was greatly missed.
Back in black.
Yes.
Okay.
It's always work.
Especially when it's over.
She came up the stairs like a trooper, about 30 miles an hour.
One at a time.
She's no Andrew Luck. A little rehab's not gonna make her retire, right?
Which doesn't need to be.
Just need to get her a garage opener for the, then she wouldn't have to walk too far.
Yep, that's right.
Good.
And
Yeah.
make a motion to adjourn the meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Should I leave this here for next week?
So you want to press it as a stop?
Oh, well, actually, you won't be here.
Right now.